Yeah, so if you see it uh, basically separated the roads to three parts, right? One, two, three, four parts. But I don't want this. Just Control Z here, and then go to the link. Here there is a point, right? So this point, just delete it for now. Then go to the road chop, and it's almost here, right? And now if you see it's separated to two points. So yeah, there are some workarounds always. And here again, okay. So now if you go to, I don't want this simply, just remove this part because we will add this part later on. Because this is intersection kind of, right? And it's a junction for us. So we will do this part later on. And okay, now we have skeletons. You can do the similar type of works with the other way, with the left side, if I want to say, right, or the north part. So now let's talk about the junction. So we talk about the blue line as well. Now to add the ramp or turn, start one way and then go to the other way, which is, for example, first create from this part to this part, and then afterward go from them. So what I means is when you're creating this part, don't create this part, right? It's because of the consistency, right? So let's say here we have a ramp, right? So this lane should be merged to this one, right? So the first thing, like the easiest way is just click on this one and then here, and I am just joining, for example, this to this, right? Maybe, for example, this one. But it doesn't look good. See, if you, let's say, if I wanna just keep continuing, it doesn't look good, and there are lots of conflict points or conflict area later on will arise because this lane and this lane there are some conflicts, right? We usually avoid doing this. Just control, you can just control Z, yeah, undo. Then just undo, yeah. So what we can do is using this slip road. So slip road is something that, for example, we can get from here to here, right? So again, if you see, because this is two-lane road, you can see that it's not adding here, right? So there is another kind of lanes here, which is this, which is appearing, right? So again, Control Z, and now what I want to do is from here, see, you need to again road chop the road. So it separates these roads to two lanes, right? Now this lane form tool, I want to introduce this one. So click on this lane form tool and go where the roads is separating from here almost, right? Then you can just click and then yes, like this one, right? Now if you see the width is not, first of all, we can just simply remove the shoulder here, and then second of all, can change this using the lane width to a kind of bigger lane, right? So it's now much better. We can do modifications as we want. You can just click on this one, and then it's just the lane which is adding to, right? And then there is another lane here, right? So for that also we can just, let's see, there are different ways. Let's see, just adding another lane, how it looks like. It doesn't look like what we want, right? Because this lane is now a complete lane. If you see, for example, the lane is coming here, right? So Control Z again. And what bothers me is this lane is not, how can I say, it's a little bit curved lanes. I don't want to have this type of lanes. Just delete this one again, and then maybe we can do other thing. Just add a lane. Add 2 lanes. 1, 2, right? So these are the 2 lanes. Okay, now using these 2 lane curve tool, from here until this part, maybe from here until this part, yeah, it's better. Then go to this lane tool and then delete this one. So now you have perfect 2 additional lanes. So what we can do here is go to the marking, and then this one, you see, just delete this, and this one just delete, right? And this one should be kind of drag and drop this dash, drag and drop, right? So now you have really good. You can delete this one and this one as well. Okay, so I'm just changing this to here, then so yeah, so if we say, what's the lane, 3.5, 3.5, then if I simply use the slip road tool, then I can connect this to this, right? So now, how can I say it's a perfect road? So for that, we have 2 options. One is go to this mono tool. If I say the mono tool, then you see there are some things showing up, right? So for example, this is going to this lane going to this, and these are going to. Sometimes, for example, it goes from this lane to this lane, right? Then you need to delete this because it doesn't make sense, right? So now you see this is a junction, right? This is a junction. Usually I prefer a small junction because we cannot modify. There are some problems afterwards will arise if we have another junction here, then they will interfere, right? So usually what I do, this is fine, but usually what I do is just simply remove this one and then adding this here a little bit, right? And then you can again add it here, right? So now what I mean is So okay, we need to add more curve. This lane, it should not, right? I mean, just play around until you get very good. So what happened here? So something is not right here. So let me see why it's. Let me delete this. Let me see. It's okay. This one is, so when I add something like this here, don't want to. Okay, now I guess it should be fine. I mean, you know, it's sometimes you need to play a little bit around. You will get used to it. Like, if you see now, the junction is now here, right? It's so small, this junction. So these are type of optimization things that we usually do because it makes our job a lot easier afterward. Let's say as long this junction now, for example, if you this is the junction, right? As much as it can be smaller, it's better for us. So now if we see this, I want to check the lane width, 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5. So there are some walk around here that you can get very kind of okay, this one, this one, okay. So yes, and if you see there is no any shoulder here, so what you can do is go to the shoulder here, right? You can delete it, and then afterward you can add it. For example, let's say lane, you go to the add lane, and then here is shoulder, right? You can add the shoulder here or here, right? So, but I mean, there should be some walk around for this. You can fix it, no worries. So yes, and then here with some modifications, you can also you can check the on-off too. Yeah, it's fine, perfectly good. So we can add some road marking to get a very nice, right? This one, I get this part. We need to play a little bit. So okay, but I mean, it's you get the concept, right? You can do the same thing. That's, for example, for diverging, and again for the merging, it's similar. So let's say here we will add a line chop. So again, we don't want this type of things, right? So what we can do is go here and then let's say I am just if I add it here, then let's see. Yeah, so it's now good. Okay, so now what I want to do here is this is emerging, right? Also here can didn't put much time for this side, I guess. I mean, you can fix that, but this part, okay, so we already separated this, right? So, and this one should, let's see, this should be just one, right? So, just one lane, okay, the ramp, one lane ramp, right? So, here, what I can do is, again, I can add another lane, right? So first of all, yeah, I can add another lane here, and then this lane should be deriving and forward, right? And then the width of this lane should 3.7 or 5, 3.5 maybe, right? What's the lane? Yeah, 3.5, and then you can, for the consistency, you can put the road marking here, and for the road marking you can just right click and then do this for maybe from here, from here. What I want to do is just trying to match this road marking with this. If you click and then right click, hold, and then you can change it, right? Just move it until it's matched. And then here, now it's 4 lane, it's 3 lane, right? So I'm going to just a little bit, should not be, little bit, yeah, it's a separate lane that I want to have a junction, right? So now if I just simply this to here, and then this one should be like this one, and then don't know why it's sometimes right. Yes, so let's see whether that's the maneuvering is fine, or so yeah, it's perfect, the maneuver, but the junction is, I mean, this junction should not be that much big, but which is fine. I mean, if you can get a smaller junction, it's better, but it's fine. So yes, so what others we can do, we can add a solid single line here, right? So, and then you can change, for example, these roads a little bit till it's fixed, right? It should not. Maybe this one here. No. Don't want that road moves a lot. Yeah, I mean, you can basically fix it, right? So these type of things, it takes a little bit time to, but I mean, it's the overall shape is fine, but you can play around because these are should be matched, right? I didn't put much time, but this is good for the sake of just tutorial, but try to get really good as well. So this is the on ramp, off ramp, or diverging and merging. Same thing would happen here. And then again, for example, here you would do the same. Let's say if I wanna just show you. So this is, you need to delete the one of them, right? Because it's just a ramp. It's not uh, a two-way route. And then you need to create the skeleton. Okay, so now if I use the road chop, it's immediately merging from here, right? So let's see where the bridge is starting. Let's say if I just simply drag this one to here, it makes sense for here at least, because you don't need to chop the road, or right? But we will have this as a conflict point later on. Uh, I mean, for this type of ramp, it's fine to just add it there. So if I see the mono, this is the junction, right? Then it should be a start from here, not there, right? But you cannot do that, and the reason maybe it's because this is the shoulder. Yeah, this was right. This should be forward or backward, right? So now if we see the junction, it's, yeah. So I don't know why. What does that mean even? Click on this and then this, because it's going through as well, right? Yeah, this is the junction that we create. For one lane roads, we can use this type of things, right? So, but it depends. For here, it was better for us to basically, because there is a lane here, right? I mean, it's adding a lane, additional lane here, right? Or here, basically additional lanes. We are adding additional lanes, right? But here, we are not adding additional lanes. It's 3 lanes, and afterwards it's 3 lanes, right? So we can just simply uh, drag this link from here to here. It's connected. But where we have additional lanes, where we have some merging areas like this one, for example, it's, let's say it's this lane. If you see, it's merging from here to here, so we cannot simply uh, drag this lane, right, and then drop it here, for example. It's just better to use this approach, just use the road chop. So yeah, what about this one, for example? Here it's better to use the road chop. You know why? Because this lane, this is the additional lanes from here to here, which is added, right? So it's better to use a road chop. So You may ask, for example, we can just keep continuing this, right? Then, for example, here we will have this, let's say here, maybe, right? So let me see whether it's, if you see, it's not the way that we want, right? So this lane is coming, and then if, for example, we say this is here, right? This is the, I mean, this shoulder, we need to delete it, right? So there are many problems. If you see, let's say we need to first delete this shoulder because there is no shoulder there, right? And then this lane is merging here, right? And then you need to, again, for example, for this lane marking, you need to again use the road chop, right? So instead of using that, because this lane marking you need to change, right? So if I, for example, I put this here, then you can see this lane marking. For example, here it's just a solid line. Starting from here, it's turning to, again, you need to do the modifications here, right? So instead of doing this type of things, right, which, for example, let's see what's the maneuvering tool. So you see a very big junction now, right? So, and this one, it should not be this way. This one should be not this one. This, we need to delete this one, and then it's coming from here to here, right? Yes. And the junction is so big, if you see now. Yes, this is the junction. Starting from here to here, right? So, but the maneuvering tool basically is, I mean, the vehicle is coming from here, and then this is the path the vehicle will follow, right? So, I mean, it doesn't matter in terms of the maneuvering tool, but if we have a kind of better junction, it's too big now, the junction. So what I propose usually do is just Control Z all the way down, or just simply delete this link, right? We cannot delete it. Maybe just getting it from there to here, or just Control Z, I don't know, right? So I just want to get it to the normal one. So here, I mean, there are some things that you will figure out when you are working. Then I am just suggesting to the lane chop, the road chop, and then you can add another lane here, right? It's a driving lane, and then this lane is driving, direction is forward, so that you can see the arrows, right? And then you can use the slip road, coming a little bit like this one, not this one, this one, right? If I, so the reason is this, the shoulder, right? If I even vary, then I will cut this shoulder off, but for now just leave it. I want to just, yeah, and then you can modify this, right? Let's see what's the junction now. Again, this is big junction, right? But still, this is much better than the previous one. The previous one was, so if we wanna have like a good junction, then it should not. There are some play around here that we should do to get. So now there is no junction, right? But if I, so the junction is this, which is fine. No worries about this. This is much better than the previous one. So, and let's see the maneuvering tools. Yeah. So what you do here is we need to this the marking should be dash, right? And then here this lane is, so this is the end of this lane, right? So we need to click on this lane curve tool, and then from, let's say here, right, here to here maybe, or more, here to here, it's the lane and curve. So this is basically, again, the shoulder. It's not the driving, it's shoulder and on, and this is the driving. So this lane is merging to this lane, right? So yeah, and then continue working on it. So this is for the interchange, ramp, on ramp, and I wanna do an intersection design here as